Hey everyone, welcome to a bonus video for Visual Latin. This is from Visual Latin 1, and we're really in chapters 3, 4, and 5 during this video. People ask me all the time, should I memorize the endings in Latin? My answer is always the same. I personally recommend heavy reading, and that you just learn the endings as you go. But maybe in their school they have to memorize the endings, or maybe for a test that they're about to take, the endings are emphasized and they really need to memorize them. In that case, this series of videos will give you a hand. So in Visual Latin 1, chapters 3, 4, and 5, I introduce the concept of case. Let's talk about that first, and then I'll give you a list of endings to memorize. So Latin has really 7 cases. I didn't put the locative on here, but it only emphasizes or only uses 5 cases heavily. The vocative is pretty simple. We'll get to that in just a minute. In terms of memorizing the names of the cases, sometimes it helps my students to memorize them using an acronym. So you might say something like N, G, D, A, and we'll forget vocative for now. So you take N, G, D, A, and we have no good dog attacks anyone, or no giant donuts are around, which is really sad. And that just helps them memorize the order of the cases. The nominative case is used for the subject. Genitive case is used to show possession. Actually, genitive has multiple uses, but the main one is they use it to show possession, typically accompanied by the word of. The dative, in general, used for the indirect object, accompanied by the preposition to. The accusative is, in general, the direct object. It can also be object of a preposition. And then the ablative is the one that we use with all kinds of prepositions. And for anything that we couldn't use the nominative, genitive, a dative, and accusative for, the ablative is the catch-all case of Latin. Then the vocative you use to call people, which makes sense because vocat in Latin means he, she, or it calls. So you have these 5 cases, really 6, but we're not emphasizing the vocative. You have these 5 cases, nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, and ablative. So you may want to just memorize their names, because if you've never seen that before, and you don't know what it all means, then that may bewilder you, and just memorizing it will help you get used to it initially. Now let's take a group of nouns called the first declension. The Romans divided all of their nouns into 5 boxes. They put them into 5 boxes. It's what I tell my younger students so that they can understand it. And they called those boxes declensions. Words that end with A are, in general, feminine words, and they're in the first box, the first declension. So we'll stick those endings in here first. So we have a. So if you're memorizing the endings, here's how you would do it. A, we're going to ignore vocative for the moment. Then you come over here to the plural side and add the rest of the endings. A, arum, is, as, is. And if you're just straight up trying to memorize these, then you would just chant them over and over to yourself. A, arum, is, as, is. Again and again and again until you have them memorized. Now, some of my students, oh, by the way, I ignored vocative because we'll talk about that in just a minute. Some of my students, when they're trying to memorize these endings because their parents told them to or another teacher told them to, they're like, oh great, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to memorize the endings and then I'll speak Latin. Well, no they won't. They'll just have a bunch of endings memorized. I recommend that you actually read the language extensively, study the language, and try to speak the language. And that's the best way to learn all these endings. But when they're learning these endings, they'll want to know, okay, that's great, arum, is, us, is, but what in the world does it mean? Well, let's go through a word together and we'll talk about what it means. So if we have the word via, via means road or way in Latin. Via means road or way. In the nominative, it would be the subject. So via est magna, the road is big. Okay, in the genitive, we now have va. Remember, we're using the word of here, so va means of the road. In the dative, we have VA again. Here it means to the road, and clearly you have to use context to figure out which is used in this position, or which is being used in this case. The accusative, viam, so if I told you guys video viam, that means I see the road. And the word viam is receiving the action. It's a direct object, goes in the accusative case. If I'm walking in the road, I would be in via. In via. If we were talking about more than one road, VA, the roads, viarum, to the roads, vis, not like we're walking to the roads, but we're personally giving something to the roads, which is bizarre. It doesn't really make sense, but whatever. Vias, the roads, so video vias, I see the roads. Or we are walking on these roads in viis. In viis. Okay, in the vocative, you would use the vocative if you were calling the road. So you're literally calling the road. Hey road, come here, which makes no sense. But anyway, it would be via. It would be via. And in the plural, it would be va. The vocative is often, not always, but often the same as the nominative. However, if you're just memorizing these, chances are you're not going to have to memorize the vocative, and you're only going to be focusing on the endings. And you would just run through the list: a, arum, is, as, is, over and over and over and over again until you had it down. Somebody asked me the other day, is there an easy way to do this? Is there an easy or a shortcut? Easy way or a shortcut for memorizing all the Latin endings? Not that I know of. Hopefully these videos will help, but I know of no shortcut. I know of no easy path. Sorry about that, guys. Well, if you like this video, want to learn more about Latin, want to learn more about Greek and their effect on our language, visit DwaneThomas.com. And if you like this video and want to see more like it, then subscribe using the button below. Take care, my friends.